A joke. I heard about these two brothers. They were Jewish brothers, incredibly wealthy, but they were terrible people. They were thieves, they were con artists, they were arrogant, they were mocking people, mocking religion. They never went to synagogue. Nobody liked them. And they didn't like anybody else. Eventually, one of the two brothers died. And the surviving brother went to the synagogue to talk to the rabbi, and he said, "Rabbi, I want you to officiate my brother's funeral." The rabbi didn't want to do anything with them. They were really terrible people, but he said, "No, Rabbi, you don't understand. I will make a $1 million donation to the synagogue, but only if during the eulogy you say that my brother was a saint." And the rabbi said, "Okay, I'll do it." Comes the day of the funeral, the whole town was there because they wanted to hear what the rabbi is going to say about this man. So the rabbi starts the eulogy and he says, "This man here, he was a thief. He was a con artist. He was terrible, arrogant, mocking everybody. But compared to his brother, he was a saint."
I've been waiting for a good joke. Finally.
And maybe $1 million. So I want to talk to you today about a not so small act of kindness. A not so small act of kindness. You know, sometimes a small action, seemingly insignificant at the time, can change the world forever. There is a beautiful story in this week's Parsha. It actually belongs to the second third of the reading, which of course we didn't read it. We are going to read it, God willing, next year. That is talking about this young girl. Her name was Rebecca, who offered a little bit of water to a stranger and offered a little bit of water to the camels of the stranger. And that small act of kindness changed the Jewish world forever. Why is that? Because to Rebecca, that was a simple act of kindness, but what she didn't know, this man in front of her was Abraham's servant, which the rabbis connect with the name Eliezer. He was there in Rivka's town looking for a fitting wife for Abraham's son, Isaac. Eliezer was looking for somebody who could value, for somebody who was willing to do what is proper and fit regardless of the circumstances. And here he found, after praying to God, to Rebecca, who eventually became one of the mothers of the Jewish people. Which is interesting, and to me it's incredible, is that everything began with a small act of kindness. Something that even I probably to Rivka's eyes was insignificant. She probably gave water to so many other people before, but who knew? This time, the small act of kindness had incredible consequences for the future. And you see, this is the thing. What kept me thinking about the Parsha. Most of the time, we think too much about doing great things, and we are in awe with people who, I don't know, maybe they invented the internet, or they won the Nobel Prize, or they won the Olympics, or these big things. When in reality, there are so many small things, seemingly small things, that at the end of the day were the ones who changed the world in where we live. So this is a beautiful message for all of us, because we know that most of the time we probably won't do anything to the caliber of winning the Olympics or winning the Nobel Prize. But we have this immense power to do small act of kindness that maybe can change the world we live forever. So I believe one of the messages of this week's Parsha is for us to never stop doing small act of kindness. This is something that brings me back to the story. Why Rivka? When I think, why Rivka, I remember a passage of Pirkei Avot, chapter 5, Mishnah number 10. That it says, it's talking about there are four kinds of people. There are people who say, mine is mine, yours is yours. What's wrong with that, right? Mine is mine, yours is yours. Well, the Mishnah said, that's the average. But it continues saying, but be careful, because that was the type of personalities of people living in Sodom. Think about this for a minute. Imagine a city, imagine a place where everybody there, everybody, no exception, will go around saying, what's mine is mine, with yours is yours. Nobody will ever help each other. So the Mishnah makes it clear, this is not a Jewish way to live our lives. Then the Mishnah continues. It said, there are people who say, mine is mine, yours is mine. That's evil. And that's not the way we live our Jewish lives. Then there is another one that says, mine is yours, yours is mine. And the Mishnah says, this is the way of the ignorant, that we don't understand how the world works. But eventually, the Mishnah says, but there is another way, where it says, mine is yours, yours is yours. And this is the Jewish way of living. When we go around looking for acts of kindness to be performed, when we go around asking ourselves, how can I help other people? What can I do for them today? What can I do for someone else? It may be a small act of kindness to you, but you have no idea the impact that that small act of kindness will have or could have in someone else. And that's why I would like to share with you a story. It's a beautiful story that is talking exactly about this value that I'm sharing with you. It's a real story. It was published many years ago in the Reader's Digest. And it goes like this. One day, a teacher asked her students to list the names of the other students in the room on 2 sheets of paper, leaving a space between each name. Then she told them to think of the nicest thing they could say about each other, of their classmates, and write it down. He took the remainder of the class period to finish their assignments. And as the students left the room, each one handed in the papers. That weekend, the teacher wrote down the name of each student on a separate sheet of paper and listed what everyone else had said about that individual. On Monday, she gave each student his or her list. Before long, the entire class was smiling. Really? She heard whispers. I never knew that I meant anything to anyone. And I didn't know others liked me so much. And those were most of the comments. No one ever mentioned those papers in class again. The teacher never found out if they discussed them after class or with their parents, but it didn't matter. The exercise had accomplished its purpose. The students were happy with themselves and one another. That group of students moved on. Several years later, one of the students was killed in Vietnam, and his teacher attended the funeral of that special student. She had never seen a serviceman in a military coffin before. He looked so handsome, so mature. The church was packed with his friends. One by one, those who loved him took a last walk by the coffin. The teacher was the last one to bless the coffin. As she stood there, one of the soldiers who acted as pallbearers came up to her. "Were you Mark's math teacher?" he asked. She nodded. "Yes." Then he said, "Mark talked about you a lot." After the funeral, most of Mark's former classmates went together to luncheon. Mark's mother and father were also there, wanting to speak to his teacher. "We want to show you something," his father said. Taking a wallet out of his pocket, "They found this on Mark when he was killed. We thought you might recognize it." Opening the billfold, he carefully removed 2 worn pieces of notebook paper that had obviously been taped, folded, and refolded many times. The teacher knew without looking that the papers were the one on which he had listed all the good things each of Mark's classmates had said about him. "Thank you so much for doing that," Mark's mother said. As you can see, Mark treasured it. All of Mark's former classmates started to gather around. Charlie smiled rather sheepishly and said, "I still have my list. It's in the top drawer of my desk at home." Chuck's wife said, "Chuck asked me to put his in our wedding album." "I have mine too," Marilyn said. "It's in my diary." Then Vicky, another classmate, reached into her pocketbook, took out her wallet, and showed her worn and frazzled list to the group. "I carry this with me at all times," Vicky said. Without batting an eyelash, she continued, "I think we all saved our list." Tears rolled down the eyes of the humble teacher. We encounter so many people in our lives, and it's a precious, precious joy to see the good in all those journeys. You see, you never know what a small act of kindness can do to others. You can change the life of an entire group of classmates, or like Rivka, with 1 glass of water, you can change the history of the Jewish people. Shabbat Shalom.
Shakoach.